don't sleep on the Shockwave 3.5. I know a lot of people love their Kitex, and I like Kitex too, but the Shockwave 3.5 is a little different. Number one, you can reel it a lot slower and still get that kick. I know you can reel a Kitex at the same speed and get that real fat wobble, but that Shockwave's got that really tight wobble. Let's get him away from the dock. You hit it right on the fall. Come here, Sal, better. Hit it right on the fall. Look how he ate that Shockwave. Look how he ate it. See that? He totally choked that mug. Look at that. Decent fish. Probably 3 foot of water, something like that. Key thing about it is electronics, honestly. Just like, you know, I'm learning my Panoptics or my live scope a lot better now, and I'm just sitting here going down these docks. I seen a little something in between, you know, like a walkway and a floating dock, and it was some structure, and then I seen some fish moving around it. So I've got that Shockwave 3.5 on a Damiki underspin, which is a great, you know, I think it might be 3/8, I think, and it really gets down, you know, pretty quick, and it's got the little spinner under it. And I was just bringing it through there, and he came up and annihilated it. Cool thing was, I knew they were there. There's still some fish there. I can't get them to bite. But probably when I released that fish, he went back to his buddies. He's like, don't do it. It's a trap, blah, blah, blah. So as you can see right here, that is the end of the dock, the walkway or whatever. And then you can see there's some little junk right here as it starts to get deeper and deeper. Now those fish were all in that stuff. It was about 3 or 4 of them. They're not really there anymore. Sorry about the glare. I'm trying to get this as best as I can. That'll work. But you can see the junk right in here, right off the end of that dock. And let's see if I can scope it around just a little bit more. So yeah, right in there. That's where that fish came from. And then on down in here, there's some more junk, and there's a few fish down there still swimming. I don't know if they're bass or not, but the thing is, when I threw it back out there, I had one come up out of that mess right there and chase it, which was really cool. All right, the Shockwave 3.5 is what I'm talking about today. Now I come out probably around 12 o'clock, 12:30 this afternoon. Got probably a good 4 hours of fishing in, and I was throwing jerk baits and A-rigs and jigs and everything else you could look on the front deck of my boat. I've got like 50 rods up there because I'm just throwing junk fishing. So I finally got a little something dialed in, and you know, I downsized all my, you know, I jerk bait, whatever, downsized it. Then I changed it up to a bigger, you know, Vision 110. Pretty much gave up on the A-rig because I just hate throwing it, so I'm kind of done with it. Finally got dialed in on the underspin, and I've never really thrown it a lot. I started throwing it a lot today, caught a few decent fish on it. Well, I caught one decent fish on it, and the others were 14 inches, 15 inches, but the deal with this Damiki underspin is the Shockwave 3.5 is what I'm using on it. Now I've got some Kitex 2.8s and, you know, some 3.8s, whatever, but I really think that this Shockwave is being slept on just because it has a really tight action. It has a tight wiggle to it, and I feel like the Kitex, great swim baits, great little swim baits for A-rigs, you know, single heads, whatever. They got that real fat wobble, and I think a lot of fish see those Kitex in the water. And you know, like the Shockwave 3.5s have a really tight wobble when they're coming through the water, and it's just something different that the fish might not see as much as the Kitex. But I took this is a Fishalicious color. The water is really clear up here where I'm fishing, and I just put it on this Damiki rig like so. You know, you just want to size it up just like you do everything else, okay? That way you know where the hook wants to come out. You really don't need super glue for this. I'd said that earlier, but I forgot this thing's got like a kick-ass keeper on it. And then I just push it up like that, slide it up over that keeper, and there you have the Shockwave on a Damiki underspin head. And this thing, you can feel the vibration thanks to the blade and the kicking of the tail. And I was just throwing it around docks and stuff. I'd went offshore some and you know, threw the jerkbait on some points and found a little bit of structure and threw the A rig and then got it hung up, broke it off, and I'm pretty much done with that. And this thing right here caught him out from under. It was one spot that I was at where my Garmin really kicked in, and I'm starting to learn the live scope a lot better now, because I'm starting to figure out what are bass, what are crappie, you know, what are striper. I feel like that the ones I think that are the bass really come up to your bait. Either they're going to eat it or they're going to stop and just check it out. You know, just kind of hang back, see what it is, inspect it. They don't want it, they're not going to eat it. I had that happen today, and I almost pooped my pants when I was throwing a jerkbait out on a point. A little bit of wind going. I'm sitting there throwing my jerkbait, and all of a sudden the screen it looked like just a pack of wolves coming up behind my jerkbait. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. This is it. This is what people were talking about. So they come up and they like blitzed my jerkbait, and then they stopped. And I was like, no. And I was like, jerk, and then I stopped it and, you know, jerked it and stopped it. They did that a couple times, actually. I threw the underspin out there, same place. They was in about 8 to 10 foot of water, 11 foot, something like that. And it was just a little piece of structure out there. And if it wasn't for me just throwing a jerkbait, I'd have never seen them fish, because they were on the bottom, and they're kind of hard to see on live scope when they're on the bottom. I tried to catch them fish for probably about 30 minutes, and I got them to follow quite a few things, but they never would commit to any of the baits that I was throwing. That's another thing, like I said on one of my earlier videos on the live scope, don't let it suck you in like it did me today. And I even preached that, and then I totally backslid on it because I was definitely sucked in. But you know what? It's kind of fun seeing those fish, the way they act, how they react to different baits, this and that. But definitely today, the underspin is what I'd caught a few fish on, and 4 hours of fishing. I talked to my buddy earlier. He fished a tournament down here. He had 17 pounds, and he said they were really eating early in the morning, which I got here about lunchtime. But you know, I actually had a job down here to do for a realtor. I had to get some drone footage, so I was like, man, I'll probably go fishing and do my drone footage, and then just, you know, give me an excuse to come down here and whale around. But my setup on this underspin is, I like a drop shot rod on this, and just because it allows the fish to kind of really load up and get the bait. And that one, it's probably 2.5 pounds, whatever, but he absolutely choked it, and it was all the way down in his, I mean, he ate it good. That's another thing. That's when you know you have the right color too, is when they're really eating it like that. But I've got a Denali lithium 7 foot, just a drop shot rod, you know, something that's got a little bit of tip, you know, a little bit of bend in it. And I'm throwing 12 pound Sunline. I think this is SX1 maybe. And then I've got a 8 pound Sunline Sniper leader, and that's my setup. And I was just kind of throwing it around docks, and you know, they're a little hard to skip. I feel like the lighter you throw this up underneath a dock, the better it's gonna skip. Because I was just trying to thrash it up underneath there, and it was like throwing a boulder in a mud puddle. So, but I eased up the way I was skipping this, just because it's got that blade and it really doesn't slide that good. The regular jig heads, you know, just like a regular swim bait head, you can skip the fire out of them, but that blade kind of gets hung up in the water when you're trying to skip it. So if you kind of ease it up underneath there, you know, just the lighter, like I said, the better it's gonna skip. It ain't gonna skip far. You know, some people might be able to skip it all the way to China, but China. Yeah, dude, that was my deal today. Glad to get out here and catch some fish, and you know, it's always good. So I'm gonna put my stuff up right now, and I'm gonna head back to the house. It's about 38 degrees out here right now. The wind's actually laid down a little bit, so that's cool because it's cold. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Elbow smash that like button if you enjoyed it. Catch me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans. And until next time, we'll see you. Bye.